Yeah, hi. It's Thilde.
And it's Stephen from the Audio Mill.
Yep. And this is Slowcraft number
16. Amazing.
Yeah.
So last Slowcraft, if you watched it, was us kind of rambling on about I want to make a jumper.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm a beginner knitter. So we're going to do it in big wool. So it's just nice and thick. And why big wool so good is because
It's Retreat Super Chunky.
Retreat Super Chunky.
Yes. So it's
Sorry, yes. And it'll give, I find it's very forgiving, so my tensions, it forgives that I'm not a great knitter, and also very quickly get a length of fabric.
Yeah, but you have definitely become much better.
Good, thank you. So we were looking at, if you look at our last video, we were looking at different things online, different free patterns, different paid patterns, and we've decided to go with, decided at the time to go with West Yorkshire Spinners Knit Flow Grow collection, which is a really cool collection. It's all super chunky, and in particular this area, which is quite a nice jumper and a lovely wool. So we decided to do the area tank top. However, when looking at it, we thought there was lots about it we wanted to change. Yes. And mainly it was done in a moss stitch.
Yeah.
Could you tell us what a moss stitch is?
It's knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and then you're knitting over purl and you're purling over knit. If that makes sense to you.
Not really. It's kind of a
No.
square then. No?
It's
Square.
No, it becomes like a kind of knobbly kind of look.
Okay, so which is quite nice. And you said it
Yeah.
might be easier to do a stocking stitch,
Yeah.
which is a row of purl and a row of knit.
Yeah.
And then we talked about I wanted to add stripes.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to have a different type of rib, a 2 purl 2 knit rib.
No, one by one rib.
Sorry,
So-
1 by 1, yeah,
yeah,
not 2.
so-
1 by 1. So things started to change. So we thought, let's take on the challenge of designing our own pattern.
Yeah.
So the way we did that, we just take the book out of the way, is you suggested using the ball band. So we have it's
The
very
famous
bright.
ball band.
The famous ball band. It's very bright. Sorry. What we'll do is we'll change camera. So this is the West Yorkshire Spinners Retreat Super Chunky Roving,
Yeah.
and in the ball band you have some really good information. So this might be hard to see. Yeah, that's a bit as best as we can get. So you pointed out that you might not be able to see this. It's very small. 9 stitches gives 10 centimetres.
Yeah.
So when we were measuring, that gave us the place to start for measuring me.
Yes.
So it's a bit tricky. We'll have to do a bit of math to work out different sizes. But for me, if I'm knitting something for myself, we were able to use this the fact that this wool using 10
10mm needles. Yeah.
10 mil needles, says there. 10 mil needles will give 9 stitches will give 10 centimetres.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on that, we decided to draw a picture. Okay, so terrible colours, excuse the colours. Okay, so a really simple rudimentary picture, but the idea was that you would have a rib, which is 1 by 1 rib, knit 1, purl 1. This would be about 10 rows. I think in actual fact it was...
Yeah, we were kind of estimating 10 rows, but I think you ended up doing less.
Because by 8 rows it looked fine. It looked good, and it was quite substantial colour. And then I had this idea of striping it, that it would kind of fade into each other. So the main colour is a green, and then it would have a stripe. So we'd do 2 rows of the main body and then a 2-row stripe, then 4 rows of the main colour and a 2-row stripe, 6, then 8, and 10.
But kept the contrast colour as a 2-row.
Yeah, kept the contrast colour as a 2-row.
Yeah.
And the idea was to do... We just went with colours that you had. So I didn't think too much of the colours. It was just a deep green, which is very nice.
Yep.
and a deep red, which is also nice. But together they kind of contrasted quite a lot. And I had this idea of a Christmas jumper and blah blah blah. Anyway,
Yeah.
the Ori yarn tank top, the Ori mill tank top. Okay, so tell me how we worked it out. Then we had.
So we first of all we took your we started off by actually measuring you, I think.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So
Yep. So this is our math.
yeah.
Buckle up, some math.
Yeah. So
So I'm quite heavy round the waist and tummy because I just love my beer and cake. So that was what, 112 centimeters
yeah.
circumference. And then you talked about, what's this?
So positive ease. You don't want it to be kind of totally clinging to your body. You want to have just a little bit of, but you quite like it. You like quite a tight fitted tank top.
Well, not tight. I just think
Yeah,
it
but-
needs to have shape, I think.
Yeah. So we decided on just 4 centimeter positive ease.
The positive ease gives you a bit of
Little bit
give,
of room.
a bit of room.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gives us 116 centimeters.
Yeah.
We're going to knit it flat,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a front and a back.
Yeah.
So we are using the WS pattern a little bit to give us guidance, or a professional pattern to help us understand what we're doing. And so it's knitted flat with a rib and detail on a rib on the arm hole and the neck V-neck hole.
Yeah.
So you can see, and that is where it has similarities to the area, West Yorkshire Spinners area, but it's different. So the front and the back would be 2 flat sides, which would
Yeah.
be 58 centimeters in width.
Yeah.
Right. Now then you talked about this. What's this here?
So we also have to put in a seam allowance,
What's that?
which is like 2 stitches on either side. So when you're sewing up your garment, because you're knitting it flat, you're losing 2 stitches on either side. So there will be kind of, in the total circumference, you will lose 4 stitches in total.
My goodness. Okay.
But we'll get to that when you start sewing up.
When we're sewing up, yeah, it'd be good to show that. So this gave us 58, I mean, apologies if you're not following this, it's quite hard math. 58 centimetres per side.
Yeah.
Right. Now, however, when we were doing the rib is, no, I'm talking rubbish, but not doing the rib. So to get the retreat super chunky, and again, it's 10 centimetres, 9 stitches give you 10 centimetres on 10mm needles.
Yeah.
Then we took 58 centimetres equals 9/10 of 58 is 52.2
Stitches.
stitches.
Yeah.
Rounded it up to 53.
Yeah.
We added 2 stitches for steam allowance.
Yeah.
So we cast on 55 stitches.
Yes.
And we cast them on, I don't really like using straight needles, so we cast on using these lovely Lantern Moon.
Yeah, so now is probably a good time to see why we're using 9mm needles, if you remember.
Or did we change? Oh no, so yes, so we're using 9mm in the rib
Yeah.
because it's tighter.
Yes, you need to have something to pull in.
Right, so we're using 10mm on the body,
Yeah, which is
And-
going to be stocking stitch.
stocking stitch,
Yeah.
and then 9mm on the rib, and that's
Yeah.
going to give us that stretchiness.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting.
Yeah, and then we decided to go for a fairly easy rib. If you look down here.
Okay, so this is you worked out the rib for me, which is
Yeah.
very kind of you. So row 1, I started, we cast on 55 stitches.
Yeah.
And the rib was knit 1 and then knit 1 and then purl 1.
Yeah.
And then you repeat back, knit
Yeah.
1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, until you get to the end of the row and do 2 stitches, which are knit 2 knit
Yeah.
stitches.
So the reason I'm going to put 2 knit stitches on either side is it makes it easier for a beginner to sew up.
Okay.
If you kept your rib right to the edges,
Uh-huh.
it's quite tricky for a beginner to see the middle of a stitch and sew it up in that line. So it's actually just because I got the experience that I know it is easier to sew up that way. Yes, you are going to get a little bit wider rib right at the edges, but no one will notice. And
Okay.
We still need to make it easy for a beginner.
And then the second row is kind of the opposite.
Yep.
Not kind of, it is the opposite. It's purl one, and then purl another one to get your 2. And
Yep.
then purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one. Repeat that until you get to your last 2 stitches, which are 2 purl stitches.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, we are still kind of knitting this kind of blind. We're just going for it.
Yeah, but that's often how things are designed. Until you really get to know, until you build up a collection of patterns yourself, then you're going a little bit blind.
So, in going blind, I have made some mistakes or choices I want to change. So let's look at how far I got. Now, I'm a beginner knitter, so I'm quite proud of this. But if you're experienced, you'll probably be quite good at this. So that's where we got to. I got to. Oops,
Yeah, and it's looking actually really nice. You're much more even.
Yeah, so I'm quite pleased about this.
Yeah, I think you should be really proud of that.
Kind of dark, sorry, a bit dark, but we have how many stitches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 rows.
It's 8 rows. 9 rows have we got?
I think you did 8. If I'm.
I did 8. Definitely did 8.
You did 8.
Let's look at the other side.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, because it's the first one because you cast on. It looks like you've done 9, but you've actually done 8.
Okay, and then we did 2 of the green.
Yeah.
And then back onto 2 of the red. And this is quite interesting. Both balls are joined, and we're just got this slightly messy.
This little bit messy edge here because I got you to carry
Yeah.
up the yarn instead of cutting it.
Yeah.
Because this is going in the seam allowance, you're not going to see that. That's going to be inside your garment. It's going to be neater looking like this rather than if you were to cut your yarn every time you change colour, because then you would have to sew that in and then you'll make a big bulky bit. It would just be bulkier and not so nice looking. So this is the best way if you're going to knit in stripes. If you're sewing it up, if this is going to be the edge, you would have been better off cutting your yarn. But we are sewing this up because it's a garment.
Okay, cool. So, as we got to here, I started to decide that I didn't quite like the colour.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite like this stripe. So you've suggested doing what?
So I've suggested changing the colour, which we decided to do, but also when we're doing the stripes, instead of doing the stripes in stocking stitch, we'll do them in garter stitch. So there will be a wee ridge raised up, and actually that stripe will be narrower.
What's garter stitch?
Garter stitch is when you knit every row. So you'll basically, when you get to the colour, when you get to the stripe colour, you will do 2 knit rows. You won't do the purl rows on the way back.
So I've still got I've got another ball of green. I decided to do this. There's not much different, but I decided to do this rusty orange instead.
Yeah, so if you take the green and put that next to it, it just looks
slightly softer. There's slightly more. It's less Christmassy. Excuse me. It's less Christmassy and a bit more. Your autumnal, I think.
Yeah.
And I wanted to also have an opportunity of. I'm going to time how long I take to do this as a beginner to get a sense of how long would the whole thing take for a beginner. And I'm not a very fast knitter, and you're helping me a lot fix mistakes, which would be another video. So we're going to keep this on. We used the petite knit, really super duper handy. Let's switch back. We used the petite knit. What do you call it?
They're like stitch holder wires or cords. They're really kind of tubes.
So these are holding my stitches together, so it frees up my needles, so I can use my in the round needles. So the stitch.
So that you just again, I did show this in an Instagram post.
You've got a wee Instagram post. Check out Instagram.
We'll put the link below, won't we?
Yeah.
So basically, you pop this wee tube on here, and you can then slide your stitches off your needle or back on, and it's just so much.
Do you know the video we could make it a short and a YouTube short?
Yeah, we could do that. We
So
can
we'll,
pop that
so
on.
it's really cool. It means, because although we have a wool shop, and I don't use up all the stock, I buy the stuff from the shop, and I wanted my needles back. So we've got a stitch marker here. So I won't pull this out just yet. What we'll do is we'll cast on 55 of this and try and knit up the same again. Compare the two to see the difference.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can be quite quick.
Yeah, you were actually quite quick in getting this done, so well done.
That's the back.
Yeah, that's the back.
That's the front.
Yeah, I think the orange would look.
I think I'm just looking
yeah,
nice,
if you
yeah.
hold it up there, because I think it was a little bit dark when you were. I think the orange will look quite good.
Just a bit softer.
Yeah.
Okay, short video.
Yeah.
Will we go?
Yeah, I think we'll. We'll leave it at here, and then we'll get back when you have done a bit of the other one.
Cool. Okay. Bye.
Yeah.